My great Hindustan is one of the most prosperous and well-known places in the world, rich with traditions, customs, and unheard stories. In villages and flourishing cities, there are countless tales, some true, some false, and some so unsettling that they shake you from within. Today's story takes us to a village near Agra, about 17 kilometers away. In this village, a child named Titu Singh was born in 1983. He was the sixth and youngest child in the Mahavir Singh family. The last born, lovingly called Titu, was the youngest daughter in the household. Every mother eagerly waits for her child to speak their first words, and Titu, remarkably, started speaking at just 18 months old. However, instead of feeling proud, her mother was left bewildered. A few months after she started speaking, Titu began saying strange things to her parents. By the age of 2.5, she shockingly claimed, "My mother's name is Rajkumari, my daughter's name is Uma, and my father's name is Chandabarti." Her family was confused and initially dismissed it as childish imagination. However, she continued making similar statements. One day, while eating with her siblings, she told her mother, "I am eating here, but my children are waiting for me. I need to take care of them." Her mother, startled, asked, "What are you talking about? You are just a child." Titu simply replied, "You don't understand, Mommy. You are not my real mother." When asked who she really was, she said, "I am from Agra, but I don't know how I got here. My name is Suresh Varma, and I own a shop called Suresh Radio." From a very young age, Titu displayed an unusual awareness of her surroundings. She would often complain about their house and insist on wearing proper clothes. "I don't want to wear this old sari," she would tell her mother. "I feel ashamed to step outside like this. In my real house, my wife had beautiful saris. We never lived in such a poor condition." Her peculiar behavior did not stop there. She refused to travel by foot or bus, insisting, "I am used to cars. I cannot walk everywhere." These statements deeply worried her parents. They could not understand why their young daughter spoke this way. As she grew older, Titu frequently spoke about a shop in Agra, saying, "My shop is in the market, but now someone else must be running it." Her father ignored her claims at first, dismissing them as childish fantasies. However, over time, her insistence grew stronger. She repeatedly mentioned the name Kapoor and claimed he had taken over her business. One day, in April 1987, her eldest brother and a family friend decided to take her to Agra to investigate her claims. As soon as they arrived, she confidently declared, "My shop is called Suresh Radio." The family searched the shop, asking around, but initially they couldn't find it. Just as they were about to give up, their eyes fell upon a store sign that read Suresh Radio. Inside the shop, they met a woman named Uma Varma, who was shocked when she heard Titu's story. She revealed that her husband, Suresh Varma, had passed away in August 1983, just a few months before Titu was born. Titu had claimed to be Suresh Varma in a past life. To everyone's astonishment, Titu immediately recognized Uma and asked about her children. She also identified items inside the shop with incredible accuracy. When shown an old photograph, she confirmed, "This was my picture. This was my shop. I told you." Uma Varma and her late husband's family traveled to Titu's village to meet her. As soon as she saw them, she recognized every single person and greeted them with joy. However, she also became emotional and asked, "Why did you betray me?" When questioned further, she described, in chilling detail, how Suresh Varma had died. She explained, "One night, 3 men came to my shop. They stopped me outside, and one of them shot me in the head. I felt instantly, and everything went dark." She could not identify the attackers' faces clearly, as it had been nighttime. After this revelation, Uma Varma's family returned to Agra, but Titu's behavior changed drastically. She no longer wanted to stay with her current family. In frustration, she even pushed her mother away, saying, "You are not my real mother." The news of this strange case spread quickly throughout the village. Many believed it was a case of reincarnation. According to Hindu beliefs, when a person dies, their soul is reborn into another body, carrying memories of their past life. By the late 1980s, this case gained international attention. A renowned researcher from North British Columbia named Mills took a deep interest in it. He was an expert in reincarnation studies and wanted to investigate further. However, they knew that this case would be a major challenge. Researcher Antonia Mills dedicated significant time to studying Titu and carefully analyzing his behavior. One day, he took Titu to the market, where the child showed interest in some items. When Mills attempted to pay the shopkeeper, Titu suddenly said, "He is our guest. If I take money from him, I should be punished." Mills was astonished by this statement, but continued to observe Titu's behavior closely as part of his research. Aside from running the Suresh Varma radio shop, Suresh was also involved in smuggling and had a history of aggression. On the day he was murdered, his enemies were aware of his illegal activities. As the investigation progressed, Mills decided to take Titu to his former home, where Suresh's wife, Uma, and their 2 children still lived. Titu claimed that he had hidden gold coins under a tree, which he had acquired through smuggling. When they dug up the spot, the gold coins were indeed found. This discovery provided further evidence supporting the case, greatly aiding Mills' study. Later, Mills took Titu back to the radio shop. Titu's actions and words made it seem as though he had always owned the place. While they were there, a worker was repairing a tape recorder. Titu walked up to him, placed a hand on his shoulder, and said, "Yes, brother, this is exactly how we used to work." Titu's father was deeply troubled by his son's growing obsession with the past. When Titu insisted that he should inherit Suresh Varma's property, Mills explained that, in many reincarnation cases, children tend to lose their past life memories between the ages of 7 and 8. However, upon hearing this, Titu shouted, "I will never forget." At the time, Titu was only 6 years old. Over the course of their research, Mills documented 31 statements made by Titu that matched real-life details of Suresh Varma's life. One of the most astonishing moments occurred when Titu sat in a car and gripped the steering wheel as if he had driven before. Uma, Suresh's wife, recalled that on the night of his murder, she had heard 2 gunshots. When they examined the car's steering wheel, there were no visible marks, yet Titu insisted that he remembered being attacked inside the vehicle. Despite all the evidence, the most shocking revelation was Titu's birthmark. On the right side of his forehead, he had a deep mark resembling a bullet wound. When Mills compared this to Suresh Varma's autopsy report, he found that Suresh had been shot in the exact same location on his head. Additionally, the report stated that the bullet had exited to the back of Suresh's right ear. Upon examining Titu, they discovered that the area behind his right ear was slightly deformed. In Hindu beliefs, birthmarks are often taken seriously, as they are thought to be linked to past life injuries. This case was considered an example of replacement reincarnation, a phenomenon where a person retains complete memories of their previous life immediately after birth. The theory suggests that when a person dies, their soul transfers into a new body, continuing its journey until it reaches its final destination. However, one contradiction complicated the case. Suresh Varma was murdered on August 28, 1983. Titu's birth date was uncertain, with conflicting records stating it was either December 10, 1982, or December 11, 1983. If the earlier date was correct, it would mean that Titu was born before Suresh's death, making reincarnation impossible. However, if the later date was accurate, it would support the theory that Suresh's soul entered Titu's body in the final months of pregnancy. This discrepancy caught the attention of researchers and the legal system. Despite Hinduism's belief in reincarnation, the Indian judicial system does not typically consider such cases. However, due to widespread media coverage and magazine articles, the case became too prominent to ignore. Eventually, it gained global recognition, even being featured in a 40-minute BBC documentary in 2012. Uma Varma later expressed interest in making a film about the case. Meanwhile, as Titu grew older, he chose to live a spiritual life. He pursued a master's degree in yoga and naturopathy and, since 2012, has worked as an assistant professor at Banaras Hindu University in Uttar Pradesh. Professor Antonia Mills proposed several theories to explain the case. One possibility was that Titu suffered from multiple personality disorder, where a person unconsciously adopts different identities. Another theory suggested that cultural influences played a role. If Titu had been born as an Englishman named Tom instead of in an Indian family, perhaps he would not have remembered Suresh Varma's life at all. Some skeptics believe that the entire case was an elaborate publicity stunt. What do you think? Could this truly be a case of reincarnation? Or is there another explanation? Share your thoughts below.